Hurtak has authored several books on the subject of extraterrestrial intelligence, a field he has studied and participated in for over 20 years. He has conducted first-hand investigations of many close encounters of the second and third kind. He is founder and president of the Academy for Future Science and has been a consultant to a number of international films and books on the subject of extraterrestrials. He was also a featured speaker at the first World Conference on Extraterrestrial Activities in Acapulco, Mexico, held in April 1977. Welcome, Dr. Hurtak. I'm delighted that we have this opportunity to have conversations on some very important matters that faced humanity at this time. Let's look at the extraterrestrial UFO situation. Can you give us an update on what's been happening?
What I found to be most important in the many years of my investigation is the conversations that I've had with American astronauts and Soviet cosmonauts as to their personal experiences. For example, Gordon Cooper, one of our great pioneers in space, in 1951 reported that over Germany he had seen hundreds of spaceships fly in formation.
Could you tell us about Gordon Cooper, astronaut Gordon Cooper's experiences?
I had the pleasure of meeting Gordon Cooper several years ago as a consultant to a major study by America's leading novelist, Sidney Sheldon. Gordon and I were scientific consultants on a book called The Doomsday Conspiracy. And in this, I detail factual reports which are put into a fictive narrative of an actual meeting between an American intelligence officer and an alien intelligence in Switzerland. However, at the end of this remarkable drama, a historic document, a letter by Gordon Cooper to the United Nations, is placed within the text. I want to capsulize what he writes. I did have occasion, this is now astronaut Gordon Cooper, a pioneer of space, speaking, in 1951 to have 2 days of the observation of many flights of them, or extraterrestrials of different sizes, flying in fighter formation generally from east to west over Europe. They were of a higher altitude than we could reach with our jet fighters at that time. Clearly an emission of some very advanced intelligence. Where were these spaceships coming from? Were they coming from a German base on Mars? It is very clear in conversations with Gordon Cooper that higher intelligence has been watching all of our major operations, from the Apollo program to the Skylab to all of the advanced operations of the space shuttle. And as President Reagan said shortly before leaving office, if the event of alien intelligence would spark the unity of nations, this would be a tremendous step forward in terms of facing the realities of our future.
Could you tell us about Ezekiel and Elijah? Were they picked up by UFOs?
If we look at the descriptions in our scriptures, clearly this was not a UFO type event. The actual terminology is Merkava, which is the ancient Hebrew word for a divine vehicle. That is to say, a vehicle that has its own light power, that is non-material, that brings a prophecy or scripture as opposed to something very mechanical in violation of free will. It is clear in the context of Yehezkel, Ezekiel, that the Merkava, or in this instance the wheel within the wheel, the Ophanim, the eyes, and the experience, is connected with a whole energy field of intelligence. Clearly a physical movement of the prophet's body takes place from one dimension to another. Clearly the appearance of light over the head. Strange but unique musical sounds are heard. So there are multiple levels of unique experiences that cannot be predicated of a UFO. In the second book of Kings, with Elijah going forth in the Merkava or vehicle, again, we have the experience of a shift into time translation that takes place through a tremendous effulgence of light. What I call superluminal light appears. The prophet is suddenly taken physically as well as spiritually into the higher dimensions. And clearly this is seen as the basis for a whole school of prophecy and teaching. That is the unique aspect of what we see in the Bible as opposed to UFO events. These were so profound that an actual group of teachers or prophets came together to bring out a higher cosmology of consciousness, a higher teaching, a higher tradition that has survived thousands of years of having a higher accuracy of divine science, a direct dialogue, contact of mind to mind and mind over matter, as well as teaching of spiritual insights that have survived the test of history of thousands of years.
We thank you, Dr. Hurtak, for sharing these beautiful, inspirational messages with us.